All right, hello everyone. This is Mr. Underkoffler, and today we're going to be looking at the guided notes. Only the first page, though, of the guided notes called Order of Operations, and this video is for my pre-algebra students. So let's get right into this. Key vocabulary: expressions versus equations. Expressions are the kind of math problems that do not have an equal sign. For example, x plus 18, you don't see an equal sign. Equations are the kind of math problems that do have an equal sign, like you see here, x plus 18 equals 92. Now, later into this year, we're going to talk about some major differences here between expressions and equations. With expressions, we can evaluate or simplify them, and we'll get more into simplifying into a future unit this year. We will solve equations, which is another entirely different unit that we'll get to later this year. The focus of this guided notes is to evaluate the expressions that we are given. Now, what does that mean? Feel free to highlight or underline this. Evaluating an expression in math means to find the answer or the value at the end of doing order of operations for that expression. Speaking of which, the way that you find the answer to a mathematical expression is you follow the order of operations. What is that? Well, you probably remember PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. But what I need you to know is even though there's 6 letters here, there's only 4 parts to order of operations. Let me explain. P for parentheses also includes brackets, which are boxy looking parentheses. We'll get to that later on another day on page 2. It also includes any expression in a fraction. Again, we'll get to that a little bit later. E is for exponents. Those are those little numbers that you see at the top right-hand corner of things. Multiplication and division are equal importance. They are the same step. So how do you know what to do when it comes first with multiplication or division? Well, you will do that left to right. I'll show you what I mean in the example over here. And then addition and subtraction, they are equal importance. They are the same step. How do you know what to do first? Well, you go left to right. Now, I'm not trying to say that you're going to go left to right on the entire problem. You are going to do parentheses first. You are going to do the exponents next, which would give me 4 times 4, which is 16. Then you're going to do multiplication and division, but going left to right. Here we have multiplication further to the left, so that gives me 48. Then I divide, finally get 8. Notice how I did the multiplication and division left to right. And then finally I'm going to do the addition and subtraction left to right. So in this problem, the subtraction's further to the left than the addition. That's why I subtracted before I added. Now, the biggest thing I want you to know in pre-algebra, and you're going to carry this on into Algebra 1 and into Algebra 2 and all those math courses you'll take in high school. The best way to show your work is to work down, step by step. And this was an example of doing that. Here's another example. Working down, step by step. My eyes can clearly see where these numbers come from by just looking straight above it. This is the beauty of working down. You can see where things come from by just looking up and down. This is the good way of doing your work in all of pre-algebra and into Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 and so on and so on and so on. But I've seen some kids who instead want to put an equal sign and then work to the right and then put another equal sign and then work to the right, and then they run out of room on their paper and then put another equal sign and keep working to the right, and oh my goodness, this is horrible. I wrote bad. I should have wrote horrible because I can't tell where these numbers come from. Okay, I kind of can because it's the same problem as up here. I can just look up here. But looking at this kind of work that goes to the right, oh my goodness, that is absolutely atrocious. Do not show your work that way. I'm telling you, it's going to make your life easier if you are in the habit of working down. Now, some other things we need to review on these guided notes. Ways of showing multiplication. You guys are used to seeing an x. Well, I got news for you. We are no longer going to use that x for multiplication. Why? Because x is a variable. What are variables? You probably know. They are letters that stand for some type of unknown number. X is one of the most popular variables and is also pretty popular as well. But where was I getting with this? Ways of showing multiplication. You can do a dot instead of an x, as long as that dot is raised. Don't make it low so it looks like a decimal point. Keep it a raised dot. You could also just put the number in parentheses and put the number that's also multiplied to it on the outside of the parentheses. So this actually still means 18 times 9. So does this. So does this. Here they're both in parentheses. Here we got brackets. They're like boxy looking parentheses, but this also means 18 times 9. So if you ever see a number sitting outside of parentheses or brackets, that means that number is multiplied. to whatever is inside of those parentheses or brackets. If you have a number times a variable, you don't need to put anything in between. The most common way in all of pre-algebra and algebra 1 and algebra 2 and beyond is that if you are showing a number times a variable, you just put them right next to each other. Yes, you could put a times dot. Yes, you could put parentheses. But I'm telling you, you're not going to see it that way this year on your worksheets, on your tests and quizzes, and in your textbook. You are going to see a number right next to a variable, the most common way of showing multiplication of a number in a variable. Don't forget, if you do see a number outside of parentheses, I talked about this over here, that would mean 3 times whatever the answer is from those parentheses. All right, let's actually start looking at some problems at the bottom of the page. Evaluate each expression, and yes, I'm requiring you to work down. It is, after all, good habits to be in. Now, I know number 1's already done for you, but let's pretend it wasn't. What do we do first in order of operations? If you forgot, you can look above in the middle part of this page. You would do parentheses. Well, I got news for you. Number 1 doesn't have parentheses. So then what do you do next? You would do exponents. Those are those little things on the top right-hand corners of numbers. This one doesn't have any of those. So there are no exponents. So what's next? Multiplication and division going left to right. Well, you can see on this problem, we got multiplication here, 17 times 2, and we have division here, 108 divided by 9. Oh, well, in between is addition, and addition will be done last. Well, addition and subtraction. So would I be so nice, since there's something in between that gets done later, would I be so nice to let you multiply and divide at the same time? Well, yes! Underkoffler actually is that nice. I don't care what you've heard about me. So 17 times 2, 34. 108 divided by 9, 12. Yes, you're allowed to do them both at the same time if there's something in between that gets done later. Now, I did not do it that way on the example you saw here, because multiplication and division, there was nothing else in between. So I multiplied, then I divided step by step. But when there's something in between, like addition, that you know it's going to get done later, then you can go ahead and multiply and divide at the same time. Now, how do I finish this problem? I do addition and subtraction going left to right. If you thought addition always comes before subtraction, you thought wrong. The only way addition would come before subtraction is if the addition was further to the left, and it's not. Here, the subtraction is further to the left, so I will do that first. And then I will finally add by 12 and get the answer of 40. And by the way, if you're sitting here right now and you're like, Mr. Underkoffler, I would not be able to do 62 minus 34 in my head, then what you would simply do is you would go off to the side, line them up like you saw back in elementary school, and you would go ahead and do any kind of borrowing that you have to do if you can't do that in your head. This obviously becomes a 5, and this 2 would become a 12. Forgive me for trying to write with my mouse here as I'm clicking through, but you get the idea. Keep that off to the side. I call this side work, where you have to like borrow and do stuff like that. Keep that off to the side. Do not let that end up in the middle of your main order of operations work. All right, problem number 2. Let's do this together. Get your pencils in your hand. Here we go. Order of operations. Do parentheses first. Oh, this one actually has parentheses. So 9 minus 4. Boom, we get 5. Now, notice what I do. Parentheses are gone because I did everything inside. The minus is gone because that was what was in parentheses and I just got done doing that. But everything else that I haven't done yet, it comes down. And I'm telling you, I know you're like, oh, that's going to be more writing. But it's going to keep your life easy because it'll keep the work organized. It will help you to follow through, not making silly mistakes. All right, next thing in order of operations. Do I have any exponents? No. So I go to the next thing in order of operations, multiplication and division. Do I have any of that? Well, yes, I do. 8 times 3. What is that? Hopefully you know your times tables. Boom, 24. By the way, forgive me if I should have said this earlier on video. I don't want to see you using a calculator for this stuff. I know 108 divided by 9 might have been a little bit mean, but the rest of the stuff I have on this page is not that mean. You should not need to use a calculator. All right, so I did multiplication. There was no division. Now I look for addition or subtraction. And yeah, here we go. 5 plus 24, boom, 29. Notice I did not put an equal sign. You should not either. That's right. These are expressions. They're not equations. Do not put equal signs when they are expressions. If you want to circle your answer, I'm kind of in the habit of doing that. Please feel free to. And now I want you to do what I do on a lot of my videos, is I want you to actually hit pause so that you can do 3 and 4 on your own. And then after you've done all the work and got your final answers for both 3 and 4, then you'll hit play so you can see how you did. So hit pause now, do the work, and then when you're ready and you're all done with 3 and 4, then hit play to see how you did. Now do not go to the second page. We're just doing the first page. Hit pause now. All right, did you already do 3 and 4? If not, you really should be hitting pause. Let's see how you did. All right. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Oh, my dear. I should multiply before I divide. No. Go back to the middle of your page. Multiplication division, you do the step left to right, which means if the division's further to the left than the multiplication, then you will divide before you multiply. Let's take a look at number 3 again. Oh, the division is further to the left. So you actually should have done 42 divided by 7 because it was further to the left of the multiplication. If you already realize you made a mistake, hit pause now and fix it, because this is what we do in math. When we're going over guided notes and you make a mistake, it is the expectation that you will fix your work as you are going through it. Step by step. Don't just wait till I get to the final answer. Fix it as soon as you realize you made a mistake. Okay, finally, 6 times 2, boom, gives us 12. All right, problem number 4. Should I go left to right on the entire problem? No, you only go left to right with multiplication and division. You also go left to right with addition and subtraction. But you always do parentheses first, but there are none. Then exponents next, but there are none. Then multiplication or division next. Oh, this does have multiplication. So I hope you did not start doing 34 minus 6 and then plus 12. No. Multiply before you add or subtract. That is part of the order of operations. 12 times 5 is 60. Now I can do the addition and subtraction. Do I add here before I subtract? Order of operations tells us that with addition and subtraction, you are supposed to do that step left to right. Oh, it's the same kind of thing we actually had here on number 3. So, well, not the exact same, but very similar. 34 minus 6, you got to do that first. Now, if you were not able to do that in your head, you went off to the side, lined them up on top, did your borrowing, keep the side work off to the side. Should not be in the middle of your steps. All right, 34 minus 6, 28. We already did that. Add it by 60. That's going to give you 88. And that is it for this video. You should not do the back side of the page until I tell you to, which will probably be the next day. So thank you for watching this video. We'll see you next time.